Welcome to Thursday Lines. I'm your host, Scoot Shady. Wow, it's been a big week in AFL and NRL. It's good to be back on the show. MG down in Melbourne town, the sporting capital of Australia. How are you, big fella?
Going all right, Scooty. Like the new haircut, mate. Did you get that for free?
No, that's the worst part. Cost me a couple of $100. So sat in the chair for an hour and a half, absolutely bored shitless, and my phone went dead. So I handled it awfully. And I did learn that most hairdressers, or the good-looking ones, take Mondays off. So I had no other option but to get it done on Monday. So, a fine young man called Terrence cut my hair and gave me the colour. And I was filthy because there's a salon up here called Goldilocks, which is full of glams. And they were only open on Tuesday. So I didn't get to play golf Monday, and I've ended up like this. And the missus come home and she said, that's terrible. Wasn't really impressed either. So one at odds there, but Toprope Tedeschi, all good up your neck of the woods?
Well, I'm certainly not as bad as it's in your neck of the woods. That's good, that's for sure.
It's a bit of fun and games. The Hawkers nearly pulled off a miraculous victory, but we battle on. I said, sometimes when you're hot, and when you're not ordinary. And I tell you, someone who is absolutely white hot, it's probably stolen the show a touch, but how's MG? He's the king of the long lunch, and he's king of finding his way into various functions, long lunches. He's very connected. He's like an octopus with lots of tentacles, old MG. But he struts into this future golf scenario at Marvel Stadium yesterday. He's got a 90-metre pitching wedge, lob wedge, for a shot to win $10,000. Have a look at the footage here. Nice easy swing, perfect follow through, one bounce, dink, he's up, and just like that, he's won $10,000. I was in absolute shock. I spoke to him early in the morning. He rattled off and he mentioned that he was going to this sort of golf scenario. I said, is there any cash there? I don't know, but there's free lunch, so I'll go. And then lo and behold, he nails it. There's not much that doesn't get caught on camera these days. And here he is with the Gregory Peck, old BT. Gives him the old wowee Brian, and there's 10 large in the Sky Rocket. MG, I tell you what, if I had known you were going to have this week, I wouldn't have put the peroxided hair up for grabs, but this is the cherry on top. Have a look at this.
Hello.
Have a look at the hole that you've had to nail it in. So it's actually a premiership cup. I thought you just had to hit the premiership cup, but it's actually a hole that you have to get it through there. So that is absolutely remarkable. And wow, Resi Max Sports Bet, doesn't matter who you get the cash off, but how fat?
Yeah, not going to lie, Scoot. One of the better lunches I've had. Don't mind a feed. But it was unbelievable, Scoot. As I said, we were at the basketball event for Carmelo Anthony the night before, and I was with me, your good mate as well, Chris Feeney, and had a late pullout. So it's he gave me the old first emergency off the bench call up for the next day, and I said, well, everyone's got to eat lunch. So went there and. Something extra for the day, Scoot. And as you said, the way the hole and everything, we'll pump it up, Scoot. It wasn't like a normal hole in one. This is, trying to hit a hard piece of wood in a, like a hacky sack kind of setup thingo. And
wow,
you got to be very accurate. You can't spin the ball back or anything like that. So it was bit of fun, great result, and so we'll collect the cash. I think off the great man Aussie from Resi Max maybe today or tomorrow. I think so. Everyone's getting their pound of flesh, but it's a good setup down there, Scoot. Anyone down in Melbourne, I think there's about a week left. So if you haven't played, if you haven't gone to Marvel Stadium, the chance to hit some golf balls onto an AFL venue, it's well set up. They do a good job, put on a good spread. So it's well worth it for any individual or corporate. But it was day out of the box, Scoot. So good result, and going into the Brownlow week and Spring Carnivals. Good little kick along in the Sky Rocket.
Toprope, have you booked your flight down to Melbourne for the South Melbourne Ballet? Because all of a sudden,
I was about to say, well, for stars, I assume the flight's already been booked for me. And so that chick's got to go a long, long way on Cecil Street. Don't worry about that.
I'll tell you one thing, Toprope, as you know, when you win any cash in a big day out or you tip one large, whatever you win, it doesn't go far when you got mates like yourselves that can spend it in a heartbeat, I tell you. That 10K won't see the light of day, Toprope, and you know it.
I'm well aware. The worst thing you want to do is win 10K publicly because it's going to cost you 20.
I've got our great friend and sub co-host when Scooty's on holidays for 3 months during the middle of the year, Nikki's birthday tonight, and I think she's already put it behind her own bar bill tonight. So I'm tipping there's a chunk of change going tonight. She's the way she drinks the quality of champers, there won't be much change. I won't even see it at Caulfield Saturday, I don't think.
Too good, MG, and a pure swing. Nick Tedeschi got a bit of homework to do. That's how you hit the golf ball, brother. There's no shank slicing in that one. So I want to see you out on the orange golf course practicing. Let's quickly talk about the NRL last week. Panthers steamrolled the Roosters, who were pretty much side away with their injuries up against the top-notch team. Storm 37-10. Continue just to drive the screwdriver into the back of Nick Tedeschi's kidneys because he backs them every year for the flag, except for this one, and MG loves to remind him about it. Cowboys 28-16. They shat the bed the Knights, and then it was a cracking game on Sunday afternoon. Manly Seagulls 24-22. The Bulldogs came out full of energy, run out of puff, a couple of maybe a forward pass, a couple of skew-F decisions, but run out of steam. And I'm going to put the blame solely on Josh Adeko's shoulders. If they had the Fox, I reckon they would have found a way to fall over the line. But obviously the one that cuts the deepest is the Bulldogs, Nick Tedeschi. But any learnings from last week?
Yeah, trying to avoid every Ashley Klein game that you can. The number one learning from last week. An absolutely cruel decision that was. So not only disallow a try with an obvious knock on a forward pass, but then to just forget the obstruction rule for another try, to not give Matt Burton penalties have been taken out. Yeah, disgraceful. Dogs did themselves no favours, playing a game at 70. So, 1-6 as a starting lock, missed a tackle on Turbo, set the winning try. Reid Marty was disgusting, and as hard as he tries, I hope I never see him in a Bulldogs jersey again. That was horrific, some of those plays. So just know your limitations. Understanding your own limitations is a good lesson for anyone to learn in life. Just know what you're good at and know what you're not. But if you're not good at something, stop trying to do it. So Reid Marty, stop trying to kick the bloody ball giving 7 tackle sets. Just bloody stupid. So, that was a tough way to finish the weekend too after a couple of absolutely horrific beats. And we'll enjoy this one, lads. Total in the Storm Sharks game was 46.5 and up 36-10 with less than a minute to go. Looked unders looked home. Then Ryan Pappenhausen decided to launch a completely meaningless field goal. and one more stiletto to the box. And then of course the Knights plus 9.5. Dropped one pretty much over the line. In to go, and then 2 tries, including one run in full time to come with the spread. So, yeah, super Saturday.
Yeah, at least you're taking it well, clearly. But speaking of the Pap, I tell you what, their podcast, Ausmerican Aces. The preview, the little teaser, I think it's like a 30-second or 1 minute clip of them inviting Craig Bellamy onto their show is an absolute ball terror. And I'm 3/4 of the way through their show with Craig Bellamy. So make sure you check that one out on YouTube. It's called Ausmerican Aces. The Paps there, Munster and Jerome Hughes. And it's quite entertaining viewing. And Craig Bellamy's a pretty funny guest. But I think
Jerome Hughes just spends the entire time with that podcast every week just losing his shit about it.
Yeah, he's a bit of a passenger, but we love him nonetheless. MG, okay, we can talk about the AFL. Port Adelaide 75, Hawks 72, and then the big turnaround. I think I went to bed at halftime at the GWS game. I thought, he's too smart here, MG. 5-unit max bet, GWS, shut the gate. But Joe Danaher had other ideas about that one. But Port Adelaide Hawks, I thought the Hawks were sort of gallant and maybe Port beat them at their own game. So I think that's twice that I've absolutely bagged the shit out of Port Adelaide, and they've found their testicles and beat me twice, and a couple of costly ones for me. But their pressure was amazing. But, gee, the umpires just destroyed the game. They just over-umpired the crap out of it. They just got so many decisions wrong both ways. But they ruined what was otherwise a pretty good pretty tight and pretty entertaining final, I thought.
Yeah, unfortunately, the umpiring on both codes, Scoot, as a collective, just been very ordinary, but can't keep bashing them all year. They haven't reached.
Well, you can, and we have.
They haven't reached a standard any time of the year, so you can't expect them to step up and do a better job in the finals. Just let themselves down again. The AFL to sweep it under the carpet. They're not interested in improving the umpiring. It's as simple as that. And I think the league seems to be the same with theirs. But yeah, unfortunately, it just puts a blight on the game, and hopefully we can get away without a major decision costing a flag this year. That's all we can hope on the umpiring front. But yeah, both games, obviously less than a kick, Scoot, so you can't ask for much more. The results on the field have really saved the AFL this year. No different this year. Hawks were coming hard and had their chances to win, Scoot, and unfortunately a couple of posters were really costly. I think Sicily really thought his was going through and looked like it swung a bit late. Not sure how much gas they're going to have in the tank this week, Port Adelaide, to back up against the Swans, which we'll cover shortly. And yeah, Scoot, the other game was... well, I thought for large parts of it we'd had it right. To cop the second largest comeback in finals history is tough to swallow. I'm not going to lie. A few people might have had the money spent. I was actually in a long lunch that turned into the dinner as well, Scoot, and 20 people actually picked up the bill for the lunch, which wasn't great idea to do at half time, get around the boys. So that was a double needle. But yeah, I mean, we had the game, GWS had the game on their terms, kind of read it right. Brisbane had kicked 4 goals, 12 at one stage and kicked themselves out of it early, as well as the Giants being on top. And then, they come home and kicked 11-3 to close the game out. So it's amazing what happens when you kick straight. And if Brisbane, don't get the job done this year, they'll know it's what it comes down to. It's just pure goal kicking on their behalf. So once they kick straight, they're virtually unbeatable for mine. But that's the big question mark. But yeah, 2 outstanding games of AFL and on the park, and both upsets, Scoot. So the bookies get results in both.
Yeah, outstanding stuff. All right, we might move straight past the AFL W. A lot of toys out of the cop because there's matches sort of every day of the week. So it's good that the girls can get it done, but still can't get a regular Thursday night fixture for the men's, which is brilliant. NFL, week 3 is in the book, so let's have a quick look at Super Bowl market, courtesy of Top Sport. The Chiefs, $5, San Francisco 49ers, $6.25, the Eagles, 11, Baltimore Ravens, 12, Buffalo Bills, 13, Detroit Lions, a similar quote, and so are Houston Texans. Getting hotter for anything, Toprope?
Just looking back last week, it's more who you're getting a bit colder on at the moment. Very hard to come back to the 0-2. I think there's something like 3 of the 19 teams, so 3 of 21 teams, so went to a 17-game schedule, has started 0-2 and made the playoffs, which is concerning for teams like the Baltimore Ravens, who are one of the preseason favourites. In terms of Super Bowl, look, the Niners have lost Deebo Samuel, now to go to Christian McCaffrey, so there's a big concern there. I think they were one of the favourites. The Chiefs have been pretty unimpressive in 2 there, so I'd say it's pretty wide up. I think you can find a little bit of value here. I don't know who you're liking at the moment in G, but I think the Browns have a very soft schedule and will shorten up at a decent enough price. And the Texans are someone who probably surprised me. They've looked really good for 2 weeks. So not putting teams away, but they've obviously got pieces there.
Yeah, no, I agree with Top Rope. Opening up early, a lot of injuries. It's a high attrition rate early too, Top Rope, which doesn't go well for certain teams. Yeah, it'll definitely test the team like the 49ers. But yeah, I think we might have tipped up the Texans a couple of weeks ago, maybe as an outsider pick. So going well. But yeah, Super Bowls are always pretty open early. So you're going to get value if you find your side early and throw them through the season. So yeah, no, good. Jesus, there were some great games though, Top Rope, to watch, that's for sure.
Well, what about the stupidity of the NFL, though? In putting 10 games in the early slate and 3 in the late slate, including a complete blowout. Like, it was, I don't know how Scott Hansen didn't have a heart attack or a stroke trying to navigate the end of around 6 o'clock on Monday morning. It was carnage. It was bets for winning, bets for losing. It even for a seasoned degenerate like myself, it was very, very difficult to keep track of.
How hard is it to do fixturing in sport, Toprope? There must be an opportunity for a business here that
It's got to be.
it can't be that hard to get the scheduling right, and it seems to be hard in a lot of sports.
I tell you what, it's never a better time to get a Top Sport account because, mark my words, they're going to have some outages to TAB and heaven forbid Cup week. So grab a Top Sport account if you haven't already, and Tristan and the boys up at the Gold Coast will be looking after you. Crikey, I tried to have a couple of bets with the TAB last week. Thought I backed a 20-1 winner. Couldn't even find the bet. Bet slip frozen, pending bets frozen, disappeared, and then just magically it reappeared. So after a heart attack, I sort of found the winner there. But wow, TAB, absolute free fall. Only joint you can bet with is topsport.com.au. So make sure you bet with a bookie you can trust, and their system will be up and running. Touch wood. Hopefully I haven't mocked Tristan into a DDoS attack from the Russians or someone like Gil McLaughlin who might start throwing him back over the fence another way. Let's straighten the wheels after all that madness and talk about US sport. AFL Premiership prices. Now it's a race in 4. MG, you're a little bit upset that both your big results are on the same side of the draw, but Sydney Swans, I tried to mock them, and I was telling every man and his dog to take $4 for the first, I would have thought, 15 rounds of the year until I started to only speak about Hawthorn, but they're now into $2.40. So you're in a good trading position now if you had taken the $4. Geelong Cats $3.60, Brisbane Lions $3.80, and Port Adelaide $8. MG, obviously your Sydney Port committed. What are you going to do with the other side?
Oh, well, at least we'll have a runner in grand final day, Scoot. So hopefully it is the Swans. But the other side, not too much in it. I'm just going to favour, I think, Geelong, which we'll talk about shortly, just because of the MCG. But I think if Brisbane play to their potential, they're definitely in it. And they lost by the grand final last year by a kick, so they're in it. Yeah, it's just going to come down to small margins, I think, for the prelims, Scoot.
Hopefully a couple of close matches. Usually the prelims are better spectacles than the grand finals historically. Brownlow medal prices, I love these ones. The prices are changing and there's been no action and no game. So it doesn't make any sense, but Nick Dacos is now $2.40. Patrick Cripps $2.55. Maybe it's a popularity contest. And Lockie Neal $8. So the other thing
the Russian DDoS attack there. Scary.
Well, you know what will happen? If Lockie Neal comes out and has 35 possessions this weekend, it'll be $8 into $7, and it's got no impact whatsoever. That's how special some of the punters out there in the marketplace are. But what is special is $44 for MG's Brownlow medal pack. So I think he's got 130 units plus on the board. So if you want to have a look at all his best thus far, you get all the backstory of what he's bet, and it's an absolute beauty. So that's on Monday night. So if you haven't had a bet and want to bet, his Brownlow pack is what you need. NRL Premiership prices. My Storm, $2.25. Panthers, $2.25. Cronulla, $13. Sydney Roosters, $15. Manly, $16. And the Cowboys, $18. What say you, Toprope?
We're sticking with Penrith. I thought Penrith were by far and away the more impressive of the two teams on the weekend. The way they blew the Riffs off the park in the first 25 rounds was they could just flick the switch. And they have flicked the switch. So they're primed again. They're looking for on the trot. Storm were good, but were certainly handed Australia the advantage when Will Kennedy butchered the kick-off, which is probably the most mortal thing you can create. The Bulldogs in 1994 grand final. No team's ever recovered from spilling a kick-off. So, the Milk test for Melbourne will come next week. If they get the Roosters next week, that's going to be a big, big game. I still don't think the Roosters are the worst, but I think the Roosters are good things this week. And they'll be a chance. Victor Radley potentially back this week, will probably be back next week if they start. I think they can match Melbourne. So if I was backing one of the outsiders, the Roosters are certainly going along.
I sort of tuned out after you said Penrith. MG, last week you had 3 bets, so you chopped out in the Port and the Hawks game, and then you lost your 5 units on the unlosable, which was the GWS Giants, but still winning 4.62% for the year, which is good news. And then Toprope, you had a small whoopsie, and we've already spoken about your sick beat woes, so a little bit stiff there, but
a little bit.
Yeah, well, a lot. a lot. So yeah,
A lot bit.
plus 3.81% pot for the season. So still got your nose in front. Let's go into the Sydney Port Adelaide game first. Friday night, 7:40 at the SCG. Swans $1.35, Power $3.20 the line, 9.5, 167.5 the total. You got a horn for both these sides. Horn Francis is under somewhat of a cloud, I would have thought. Was it just cramp, or has he spot on? But God, he doesn't mind a bit of a prance around, does he?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that's a query this week, Scoot. The the toughness of that match, and it was definitely in the trenches kind of game, and Port Adelaide would have some sore bodies in the recovery rate, with Sydney obviously having the week off. So I think Sydney would be pretty excited that they've drawn Port Adelaide off a really tough match going into this week at home. Port have definitely got some statistics in their favour, Scoot. They've won the last 8 straight head-to-head after Sydney had won 13 of 14, I think, before that. So it was real domination of the Swans, but the last 8 Port have won, including round 21, I think it was, where, if you remember, they beat them by 112 points at home, where Port, I think, put 70 on the board, Scoop, before Sydney actually troubled the scorer. So recent history is definitely with Port, so they'll have no fear. They've won their last 3 at the SCG as well, so they will go there full of confidence. It's just whether their body and mind will carry them that far to be able to get another victory after coming off the Hawthorn. A lot of times, Scoot, as you know, they you can play a big final and that ends up being your grand final. It's hard to recover a week later. So it's what it's going to come down to, and I think a lot of it's going to be home ground advantage, big crowd, Heaney's 200th as well. Just all adds to the occasion. And I think Sydney would have learned a lot from it, from the Port loss, and also their last 8. They got something to prove. But I think the line's too big here, though, Scoot, from a betting point of view. I think the market's probably a shade big. So if I was going to have a play on the line, I'd be playing the plus, even though the worry on Port Adelaide is whether they do back up. But I just think the line's a touch big here. And in terms of the total, I think the key here, there's a couple of big stats going around, Scoot. 160 seems to be the key. The betting's at 168 at the moment for the total. So when Port Adelaide keep a game total under 160, they're 11-2 on the year. And when Sydney go over that 160.5 mark, they're 15-3. So it just goes to the playing styles of the two teams. But Port need to keep it low scoring, in tight and close. And Sydney want it on the outside, running and high scoring. So I think you'll know pretty early, Scoot, just on the scoring rate, which side benefits. But, hard to find a bet, Scoot. I think I'd shade the plus, and I'd probably shade the over if I was having 2 plays. But, just whoever gets through, Scoot, I hope they're injury-free and get ready for the grand final the week after, because that's the boat will be riding home.
I think I'm going to cut this one. I'll take Sydney Swans heads up and not playing the rest of the game. Not going to dye my hair pink. Not making any brash statements, won't teal my hair, the Port colours if they win also. I've half learnt my lesson, I'd say, but I don't really want to get too involved, but Swans heads up is a safer way for me to play. Nick Tedeschi, if you're still with us, let's discuss Sharks versus Cowboys, who... just give me an update on the news here. Are Cowboys going to make it down to the game? That can't be right. It's a bit of a sick joke, isn't it, that the Cowboys couldn't find a flight?
Well, tell the media better. One, who cares? NRL's flying down or flying down charter. So no public commercial with the Cowboys. NRL's now on the verge of purchasing their own jet. They started off on NRL Air, up and about. So that's how good the game's going. Absolutely flying.
Well, it's easy to say it's flying if the government are going to shell out how many million for the Papua New Guinea team that's going to fail. It'll be 5 or 10 years and then it'll fold. But how much has Albo pledged for Papua New Guinea?
600 large. 600 large. Well, the current clubs will get 6 years, a little sweetener, little taste, and then the rest will go there. And of course, the PNG government will probably chip in just as much. I'm sure they're airborne, and just make get this PNG team up and about, ready and rearing to go.
I don't reckon they'd have 600 million, but let's have a look at the odds courtesy of TopSport. Cronulla Sharks $1.55, North Queensland Cowboys $2.45. The line 4.5 and 45.5 the total. I tell you what is the worst thing about this haircut is when I go into the bathroom to have a slash or when I just look at myself on screen here in the studio, I catch myself and I think, who's that? Or
It's all disconcerting for us. Well, Scoot, I'll tell you that.
I feel like an alien. Anyway, let's talk about the Sharks versus the Cowboys. Who wins this one?
So little number here that will hold up throughout the week. Over the last decade, take away the 2020 COVID year, the top 4 team who lost week 1 in the finals, there's 15-3 against the bottom 4 team who won. So very, very, very keen on the Sharks. Then this one, they've got a great record against the Cowboys full stop. Heard about the Cowboys' travel problems, but the Sharks have won 11 of the last 13, 6 of the last 7 in Sydney. 3 of those last 4 in Sydney have been Sharks wins by 36 or more. Covered 15 of the last 19. Big bounce back spot, which I know you love, MG. 4+ favourite of a loss of 20 or more, cover at 60% the last 4 years. The Sharks have covered 7 of 11 off a 20+ loss, 7 of 10 off scoring 10 or fewer. They are very good against teams outside of the top 4, 37-20 against the spread versus teams 5th or worse. Cowboys covered just 7 of 22 against top 4 teams. I'm all over the Sharks. That's why I think they win this. I think they win it big. Funnily enough, this is the 6th final between the 2 teams over the last decade. So the last 12 years. So these guys have met regular finals football. And it's been split fairly evenly. But the Sharks have been favoured in most of those. The Cowboys have caused upsets in plenty. So only a little wary point there. Also, super keen on the over in this one. 4 of the last 5 have gone over the total. Last 5 top 44 points. The over 9-2 when the Sharks are a 20+ loss. 19-10 when the Cowboys are a double-digit win. I think this game goes over. It's already been well supported. The 45.5 to the $1.80. It'll start 46.5 at least. Then we could even get that up to 48. Nice
one too. So might even take the Kyle Felt anytime try score into the total over 45.5. You get $3 at TopSport for that little snack. But poor old Tommy Turbo last week held together with Sticky Tape. We tipped him up for anytime try scorer, and he set the first one up, I think, for Manly. But oh my God, we'll talk about him.
I really didn't realise how bad he was. I really thought he'll get the needle, he'll be fine. He looked like me playing out there.
All right, over 45.5 looks the safest bet there. 3.5 unit play on your GGOA set. So like what you're doing there, Toprope, but I don't like the drive-by that you just gave me with the bounce-back factor and MG liking the bounce-back factor. So let's talk about Brisbane and Geelong. Brisbane Lions are a menacing team. They must be frustrating to coach. Poor old, that's probably why he's so relaxed, old Fagan. He doesn't know what he's going to get, so he just goes out there and looks half stones when he's coaching them. But Geelong Cats, $1.74. Brisbane Lions, 2.10. 4.5 the line and 173.5. Brisbane Lions, they probably don't even know what they're going to do, but MCG, that's probably the key negative here, but they've got to be playing fearless football in our Lions. They've looked down the barrel of a big loss. They've found a way to win, so they just got to play carefree footy and roll the dice, don't they?
Yeah, tough game to assess. Some finals are, Scoot, and I think the market's pretty much spot on. I come up Geelong 5, the market's solid 4. And the total I thought would be 170, and it's 172 to 173. So hard to find a play here, but a few stats. Yeah, as you said, the MCG is going to be a key. Geelong are 4-2, so they've only played 6 games at the G this year. Brisbane are 1-1, played against lower ranked sides, so they don't get to the G too often. But obviously played in the grand final last year and went very close to winning it. So Geelong at home this year, 8-3, both similar records at night. So I just think it comes down in this game is, I just think if Brisbane kick straight, they win the game, to be fair. And if they don't, then, Geelong will win. Geelong have been very accurate this year and, Brisbane by and large haven't. So it'll come down to how do they handle the MCG, how they handle the pressure. Big crowd expected, 90 plus. They'll get somewhere between 90 to 95, I think. And I just don't think there's too much between them. Geelong do have a dominant head-to-head record over the line, 16-3, and they've covered 15-4. So that's a stat that kind of stands out to me. And if I was going to have a play, Scoot, I'm going to stick with a home team here. No confidence, but if I was just from a tipping point of view, I think it'll be a Sydney-Geelong grand final. But as I said, if Brisbane are on and they kick straight, they'll just have too much firepower for Geelong to contend with, I think. But yeah, it's a tough game to assess. Going to stay out betting wise, and just hopefully get Sydney through on the first one. Scoot and these two beat the crap out of each other, and the legless going into the grand final the week after. That would be a great result.
Not asking for much after you've won 10 large at the golf, are you?
Want to win more than that for Sydney in the Prem, Scoot.
Lovely stuff. Tom Stewart, a big in for the Cats. I'll be interested to see he bounces back off his little sniffle. But yeah, hopefully we get a shootout and a closer game, because I guess it's the more likely, as the betting suggests, to be the cracker of the two. So very excited to see that one play out. Toprope, let's have a look at the next game of rugby league, and yeah, it's the medical clash here. It's last man standing, because these two teams have just been battered and depleted through injury. $1.55 the Roosters, Manly Seagulls $2.45, line 4.5 and 46.5. So some good traditional rivals here fighting it out, but I can't say I'm very stoked to be on Manly after what I saw last week, especially with the great man Turbo on fumes.
Well, Manly did benefit from getting Grant Atkins refereeing, and we saw a referee that'll certainly be a nice little leg up for the Seagulls. But some good news for the Chooks. Jared Waerea-Hargreaves is back. How long he lasted that getting Sinbin was set off is not a conjecture, but he's at least been named for this week. And Victor Radley put on an extended bench, could play, which is
big,
particularly exciting. So big in. So, like I mentioned in the Sharks preview, teams, the top four team off the wing is absolutely the way to play this one. These two have had a much tighter kind of recent history. Roosters won over the last 12. The covers have been evenly split there. Chooks have won last 5 at Moore Park, whether that be the SFS, the SCG, the old SFS against Manly. These guys have been playing finals since 1972, and this will be the 10th final between the teams. So, long history there. The other Chooks, though, 9-6 against the spread off conceding 36 plus, 10-4 against the spread off a loss. They've covered 36 of 61 against teams 5th or worse. Manly, 9-14 against the spread against top 4 teams. Yeah, I think Manly might have reached their. I think they should have reached the end of the line last week. But I think they've reached the end of the line. Turbo is completely busted. He is completely cool. The Roosters are much more adept at being able to run their score, but Manly in a bit of strife there. So, look, the Roosters, after the opening 20 minutes beat Panthers, so I know it doesn't mean a lot, but I thought they kind of contained it after missing a kick early on there. And even when they missed it, I don't think they was shooting in more in that first 20 minutes either. They were just beaten by a far superior team. So, Dan Class, Roosters bring this one. Roosters cover. I'll be backing them. I'll be backing the 13 plus and 19 plus for a little bit of the old Brits lane.
Beautiful stuff. All right, so the 2.5's already gone. That's what you suggested in your GGOA package. So hopefully Nikki Sylvester's had some of her birthday money on, and then a little bit of James Tedeschi anytime try scorer. So hopefully the Chookies get it done for Nikki. So happy birthday, Nikki, and hope you have a great birthday month. That's it. I'm gonna cut the show short. We've seen enough of my haircut. We've heard enough about MG's 10,000, and I'm sick of Nick Tedeschi's drive-by shooting. So hopefully we can lock and load for next week's big finals matches. It's going to be an absolute beauty, and hopefully MG's got something to cheer about, and the Swans find the line. So
and the Brownlow
much of the same,
Monday.
really. Oh, and yes, Brownlow medal package, $44. So MG will be cheering Cripper hard against this wave of money that has appeared for Nick Dacos, and a bit of a watch on Lockie Neal. If he plays a big game, he'll be off the map as well. So we shall see.
We've got plenty of units out, obviously, Scoot. We're just waiting for the who gets the threes to be released. I think hopefully the bookies will do it Thursday, Friday. I don't know what the hold-up is there. But probably Sunday will be firing plenty of shots into Monday. So there's a lot more betting to come. So even though we've outloaded, I think, double what we did last year already. But yeah, hopefully there's plenty of orts in the who gets a three scoot, because that's where we make our cash.
I'll give you the hold up. I'll give you the hot tip, MG. The hold up is that they're trying to avoid people like you picking them off for day zone.
Well, I've got a bit bigger bank to fire with Toprope, so
Exactly.
put them up, books. Let us play.
The 10,000 will be gone by about midday on Monday, and all the bookies will either be ducking for cover or be collecting the 10 large. But fingers crossed you get the job done on one of the greatest betting events of the year. The races already run, and MG just picks them off. Great stuff. All right, good luck on the weekend, and we'll see you next week, boys.